Letter 23. To the Honourable Daines Barrington, Selborne, June 8, 1775. Dear Sir, on September the 21st, 1741, being then on a visit, and intent on field diversions, I rose before daybreak. When I came into the enclosures, I found the stubbles and clover grounds matted all over with a thick coat of cobweb, in the meshes of which a copious and heavy dew hung so plentifully that the whole face of the country seemed, as it were, covered with 2 or 3 setting nets, drawn one over another. When the dogs attempted to hunt, their eyes were so blinded and hoodwinked that they could not proceed, but were obliged to lie down and scrape the encumbrances from their faces with their forefeet, so that, finding my sport interrupted, I returned home, musing in my mind on the oddness of the occurrence. As the morning advanced, the sun became bright and warm, and the day turned out one of those most lovely ones which no season but the autumn produces. Cloudless, calm, serene, and worthy of the south of France itself. About 9, an appearance very unusual began to demand our attention. A shower of cobwebs falling from very elevated regions, and continuing without any interruption till the close of the day. These webs were not single filmy threads floating in the air in all directions, but perfect flakes or rags, some near an inch broad and 5 or 6 long, which fell with a degree of velocity which showed they were considerably heavier than the atmosphere. On every side, as the observer turned his eyes, might he behold a continual succession of fresh flakes falling into his sight, and twinkling like stars as they turned their sides towards the sun. How far this wonderful shower extended would be difficult to say, but we know that it reached Bradley, Selborne, and Arlesford, 3 places which lie in a sort of a triangle, the shortest of whose sides is about 8 miles in extent. At the second of those places there was a gentleman, for whose veracity and intelligent turn we have the greatest veneration, who observed it the moment he got abroad, but concluded that as soon as he came upon the hill above his house, where he took his morning rides, he should be higher than this meteor, which he imagined might have been blown, like thistledown, from the common above. But to his great astonishment, when he rode to the most elevated part of the down, 300 feet above his fields, he found the webs in appearance still as much above him as before, still descending into sight in a constant succession, and twinkling in the sun, so as to draw the attention of the most incurious. Neither before nor after was any such fall observed, but on this day the flakes hung in the trees and hedges so thick that a diligent person sent out might have gathered basketsful. The remark that I shall make on these cobweb-like appearances, called gossamer, is that, strange and superstitious as the notions about them were formerly, nobody in these days doubts but that they are the real production of small spiders, which swarm in the fields in fine weather in autumn, and have a power of shooting out webs from their tails, so as to render themselves buoyant and lighter than air. But why these rapturous insects should that day take such a wonderful aerial excursion, and why their webs should at once become so gross and material as to be considerably more weighty than air, and to descend with precipitation, is a matter beyond my skill. If I might be allowed to hazard a supposition, I should imagine that those filmy threads, when first shot, might be entangled in the rising dew and so drawn up, spiders and all, by a brisk evaporation into the region where clouds are formed. And if the spiders have a power of coiling and thickening their webs in the air, as Dr. Lister says they have, see his letters to Mr. Ray, then, when they were become heavier than the air, they must fall. Every day in fine weather, in autumn chiefly, do I see those spiders shooting out their webs and mounting aloft. They will go off from your finger if you will take them into your hand. Last summer one alighted on my book as I was reading in the parlour, and running to the top of the page, and shooting out a web, took its departure from thence. But what I most wondered at was that it went off with considerable velocity in a place where no air was stirring, and I am sure that I did not assist it with my breath. So that these little crawlers seem to have, while mounting, some locomotive power without the use of wings, and to move in the air faster than the air itself.